You put that thing down. Don't degrade the champion at any time. A man in my position could never afford to look ridiculous to you.
Let's talk about solar panels. So, the first thing when we're talking about solar panels that we need to know is the components of a system using solar panels. So the first thing we need to talk about is the actual panels themselves. So the solar panels are made of silicone cells that when the sun's rays hit them, they create voltage or...
What do you see?
Slim Jim. Slim Jim. Slim Jim! Need a little saving?
Electricity. And so when the light particles actually strike the cells, you are creating an electrical current. From the panels, we move to the charge controller, and the charge controller is simply a device that makes it so you don't overcharge your storage batteries.
I got your lip ticket!
If you're creating excessive voltage from the sun's rays, you can damage your batteries. So from the controller, we go to our battery bank, which looks something like this. And what these do is they store our energy
That beefy juicy taste!
During periods when we don't have sunlight and we're not running off of the utility companies or an AC generator. So from our battery bank, we go to a power inverter, which is probably one of the most important parts of the entire system.
Wieners, wieners, wieners!
As it is what takes the DC voltage and converts it into a usable AC voltage, which for us is typically 120 volts. The power inverter is also used to charge batteries when connected to the grid or from AC generators when we're off the grid. So this goes to our AC appliances or our outlets. So some of one of the biggest issues when using a solar panel is having to be either on or off the grid, and there's going to be times when your storage batteries won't be able to supply enough energy for your needs. So that's when you have to decide, are you going to be on or off the grid? So for off the grid applications, you're going to need an AC generator, which kind of looks something like this, and that's going into your charge controller. And when you're on the grid, you are going into a meter. So there's the meter, and that goes to the grid. So there's your telephone tower, whatever. So another issue that we have with solar panels is spacing and where you're going to put them in a sunny area. Sometimes you simply don't have space on your roof to put solar panels.
Okay, now get out of here right now.
That's a little rough, Randy.
No, yeah, but it is rough. Yeah, wrestling is a rough sport, and I am the roughest one in the sport.
Sometimes it'll be too shady, so you need to find a place that has plenty of room, plenty of sunlight. When I was working for the city, we would build parking structures and put the solar panels on top of that. Or for a larger company, if you have enough area, you can build a solar farm, which is probably the best way to go. So the next thing we need to talk about is some simple calculations that we can use to size what kind of system we need and to find our annual energy electricity generated. So let's start with sizing. So one, we need to know the energy needed, which is our load times the hours we are running. So that's your first equation you need to know. Second equation we need to know is the size of panels, which is in watts, and that is our first one. Our first equation is that we solve for energy needed, and that's in watt hours, and that is divided by the hours of sunlight that the panels are getting. So that's important to know. The third calculation we'll need to know is sizing the battery. Okay, so here we have the battery size and the charge controller size. The first one for the battery size is energy needed divided by 12 volts. For the charge controller, it's the solar panel size divided by 12 volts. That'll give you amp hour reserve and amps. And then the final equation that we need is the estimate your output electricity for annually. That's E equals A times R times H times PR, where E is the energy in kilowatt hours, A is the total solar panel area in meters squared, R is the solar panel yield, and that's percentage, H is the annual average solar radiation that's on the panels, and PR is your performance ratio coefficient for losses. And that's the basics for solar panels, and thank you.